This video discusses three functions, COUNTIF, SUMIF, and AVERAGEIF, that can be used to count, sum, or average the values in cells that satisfy a condition. For example, if you have a list of genders and scores, the COUNTIF function can be used to count the males, and the SUMIF and AVERAGEIF functions can be used to sum or average the scores of the males. The syntax for these functions is shown here. Note that there is only one range to specify in the COUNTIF function, the range you want to count. But for the SUMIF and AVERAGEIF functions, there are two ranges: the criterion range, such as gender, and the range that has the numbers you want to sum or average. Here is a typical example that shows some of the possibilities. There are a number of students, male and female, of various ages, with exam scores. Evidently, some of the students were absent. Note that some of the rows have been hidden so that you can see the top and bottom students. To the right, I have some conditions that I'm going to use. For example, I might want to look at only the males, or only the females. Or I might have an age cutoff, so that everyone 20 or older is considered old and the others are young. Or I might have an exam score cutoff, where every score 87 or higher is considered high and the others are low. I will first count the males. This is an easy COUNTIF. I am eventually going to copy this formula to the right for females, so I will make this gender column absolute. For the condition, I can either type male, or I can refer to the cell containing male. The latter is better because it allows copying for females. There are 34 males and 38 females. How many scores are high, that is 87 or above? This is again a COUNTIF. For the condition, I want greater than or equal to 87. Again, I could type this in literally, but this won't react properly if I change the exam score cutoff later on. So here is the way you can refer to the cutoff cell with concatenation. You type the literal part in double quotes, greater than or equal to, then an ampersand for concatenation, and then the cell reference. So this is the number of scores that are greater than or equal to whatever is in the exam cutoff cell. In this case, there are 6. If I change the cutoff score to 80, the number increases to 23. Now I'll change it back. Next, I will find the sum of the scores by gender using the SUMIF function. It takes 3 arguments. The criterion range is the genders. The criterion is in the top row. And the sum range is the exam scores. I'll copy that across for females. So the sum of all male scores is 2660, and the sum for females is 2585. Note that these sums ignore any blanks in the exam score column. In the same way, I can average the scores by gender with AVERAGEIF. So the males average about 78 and the females average about 74. Next, I will find the sum of the scores for the young people, those under 20. This is another SUMIF, but the criterion range is now the ages, and I have to use concatenation again in the condition. If I want to get the average of these scores, here's a nice trick you might try. I could type the AVERAGEIF formula, but it will look very much like the previous SUMIF formula. The only change is that average will replace sum. So in the formula bar, I will copy the previous formula with Control-C and press Escape. Now I will highlight the next cell down, go to the formula bar, and press Control-V to paste. And fix the formula by changing sum to average. This is a nice trick. It saves you some typing. I will use the same trick for the next two cells, copying formulas in the formula bar and pasting them for new cells and fixing the formulas slightly. It is important to realize that these three functions allow only a single criterion, such as male, greater than or equal to 20, and so on. If you want to count, sum, or average when there are multiple conditions, you need the plural version of these functions. They are discussed in the next topic in this tutorial.